morning, Sampler 2. I want to say congratulations, you have made it this far. We are on block number 6. This week's block is called, what is it called? Laugh with Friends. I don't know how they come up with these names, but hey, laugh with friends. And isn't that always heartwarming to be able to do that, is laugh with our friends. So why not throw that heartwarming into today's book block? I'm going to step aside here and show you that our block number 6, what that is going to look like. That is my version of the fabrics that I'm using. And I have to say, they are coming together wonderfully. I am very thrilled and pleased with how mine is turning out, and I hope you are too. And I have to give kudos because our very own Judy has helped me with block number 6, and I had some meetings this week, so she jumped in and helped me to get the block done that is behind me and got everything cut out and ready for me for today. So thank you, Judy. Love you. And also then to Alicia, who is jumping in and preparing block number 7 for me because I have more meetings this week. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get ready to show you all of the cutting that you're going to have to do for today. And I know a lot of you have made comments. This is a lot more detailed than the sampler 1. And yes, it is. There is a whole lot more cutting. And just cutting alone with the strips that we just did. However, the strips that we just did, and you know, I've got the comments of people saying I'm glad that we went ahead and did those because I wouldn't have probably followed through with that and would have procrastinated. So there's several of you that have made that comment, and I have to agree with you on that. And on that note, thank you to Alicia because she is the one that did all of my sashing pieces. So thank you, Alicia. Thank you. So let's go ahead and get started here and take a look at our cutting that we need to do for block number 6, Laugh with Friends. I'm going solo here, guys. So bear with me and I will take you through and show you what your cutting measurements should be. I'm hoping that you can see this okay. I'm going to zoom in, and our top pieces at the top there that you see is our background piece, and you need 4 of those at 2 3/4 inches by 5-inch rectangle. We move on over to B, and that is 12 at 2 3/4 inch squares. And the last piece of our background is C, and you need 32. 32, guys, at 2 3/4 inch squares. Okay, and I apologize if there's any jerky movements here. Then we're going to go into the inside of, I'm calling it the inside X, and we label the next set is D, and you need 2 at 3 1/4 inch squares, and the next part of that is E, which is 4 at 2 3/4 inch squares, and then F, which is 4 at 2 inch squares. And that F piece is going to be the cornerstone that is in all of our different blocks, okay? We'll go into G there, and that is our inside frame, G, at 2 3/4 inch by 5 inches. And I'm going to try to get us over here on the bottom. Sorry about that. And then we're going to do H, and that's 2 pieces at 3 1/4 inch squares. And we have I, which is 4 at 2 3/4 inch squares. And our last piece will be J, which is our outside framing piece. And that's 8 of those at 2 3/4 inch by 7 1/4 rectangle. All right, so as we start out with all of our other blocks, we are going to work on getting tongue-tied, our cornerstone pieces, okay? And that's what we find in the corner of each one of our blocks. And we are going to put these all right here. I've already got mine already done. Be quite honest with you, I've got them all done for all of the other blocks because they're just quick and simple to be able to do. So I went ahead and have all of these ready because they are all the exact same thing. And you're going to need 4 of these, 1 for each corner. And this is going to be our letter B that goes with our letter F. And everybody has, if you're already in block 6, you know how this all works. You're going to put your piece, letter F piece, up here in the upper left-hand corner, and you're going to have your stitch line that you're going to stitch right down the middle there, and then you're going to trim that piece off. And these blocks here should measure at 2 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch. I'm going to set these aside for the moment. Okay. And our next piece, now this is going to be a little different than what we've been doing here. So our next piece, you're going to use letter J. So it's going to be one of your long rectangle pieces, the one that is 2 3/4 by 7 1/4 inch. All right, so I'm going to set that one there. And then you're going to have a letter C that you're going to use with this. And you're going to make sure that you're drawing your line on the opposite side, on your back side. So I'm using a white on white, and as I've said in all of the other videos, make sure if it is a white on white or cream on cream or whatever, that you're making sure that you are laying down the proper side. You want the right side down so that you can draw on the back side. And then you want to take your ruler, line that up corner to corner in the diagonal, and you want to draw those lines with your water-soluble pen, friction pen, your air thread, or I always say air thread, your air pen. So just make sure that you are marking those corner to corner. Okay, and then we are going to, you're going to make 4 of this, and then there's going to be 4 more, but they're going the opposite direction. So on this particular piece here, I'm going to lay to where my diagonals, if you can see this, these are both. Can you? I hope you guys can see this. I can't tell if you can, but if you see that both of the diagonals here are going the same way. Let me lay it on here. Maybe I can prop it up and hold it so I can show you a little better. Oh, I hope you don't have that glare. But see here, the diagonal going this way, off to my right, and the diagonal here. Both of these are going the exact same way. Okay, you're going to make your stitches on those, and then when you come back, and then you're going to trim. Oops, let's see, this is the wrong piece, but you'll get the idea. This is one for the actual next set. But when you stitch that and you go to open that up, that's going to bring you one whole new piece, okay? And you want to make sure that you're doing your trimming 1/4 inch and trim those edges off there. And these should be measuring 2 3/4 by 7¼ inches when you open them all up, okay? So here is one, this is one that I have that is all stitched up, and I'm going to trim here. When I open that up on those two sides, then I'm going to get it to look like this, okay? Then you're going to do the opposite, make them go the opposite direction. So you're going to want to just give it a little turn, just like this, so that this way, before they were going like this to my right, now they're going like this, so going to my left. All right, I hope everybody can see that. You see that okay? So this is a little different than what we have been doing, because we've been doing the goose track or the arrows or whatever it is you want to call it. And so this is a whole different setup, okay? So it's very, very, very important that you make sure that you're doing 4 one direction and then turn and do the other 4 going the other. So one is going to angling to your right, and the other one would be angling to your left. And so you'll need 4 going to the right and 4 going to the left. Okay, so I hope I explained that okay, and that my samples, that you can see those enough. And then when you do go through and trim those, you will see when you open that up, see the direction that that is going, okay? And again, both of those, that's with your 7¼ inch piece, which is your letter J, and then that is matched up with letter C, and C will be on both ends here, okay? And then next we are going to stay on that same type of stitch and be able to, or I should say pattern, on that same type of pattern, because now we are going to use letter C, which I've used all of my C's here, and you're going to use letter G. So now you're going to do the exact same thing. So your letter G is going to be your main piece of fabric. Now if you notice, see how these kind of fold over? When I stitched mine, I do a chain stitch, which someone had asked me, what does it mean to chain stitch? What type of stitching is that? And chain stitching, if you've never heard of it or you've never done it, all that means is that I'm taking all of these pieces and I'm doing the exact same side. I'm just running it all through without running one, stopping, run another one, stopping, cut. So I just took and I just run all of them through just like this. So say like if this is my first piece here, and then I stitch this side, and then I take this one and I stitch down this way, and they're all connecting until I finish my last one. So see, all of this would be just one big stitch. And then when I get done, then I will take, if you see that there, one big stitch, and then when I get done, I just go and I just clip each one of these apart to break them apart. And then I turn around and I do the exact same thing on the other side. And so if you wanted to go ahead and press the one side down and then do the exact same thing on the other, and you're doing, see how these are all going this way, and then you're going to turn around and you're going to make four set, or I should say 2 different sets with 4 pieces in each one. So here is one set, and this one here is going the opposite direction. All right, can we see that? I hope you can. And so this is what we just did with the 7 1/4 inch long piece, and now we're doing a 5-inch piece. So it's the exact same thing. You have 4 pieces that are going to the right and 4 pieces that are going to the left. So when you're measuring, when you're laying these on there, you want to make sure that they are going to flip the way that you're needing them to flip to, okay? To keep you on track of what direction that particular piece is going to go. And so then on these, you want to make sure that these measure 2 3/4 by 5 inches, and go ahead and get those all trimmed up. Okay. And we'll get that all done. And then our next piece is going to be our C and our G. And on this one, so on C and G, we only had, let's see, let me grab C, where C is going, so C and G. All right, on our next part we're going to do, it is going to be our piece D and our piece H. All right, so you're going to have 2 D's and 2 H. And with this, you're going to take and you're going to draw your line. And I've got my Fawns and Porter piece here. I'm going to center that on top and draw the line on both sides of my little ruler here, and then draw my cut line, which will be my corner to corner. Okay, so here, hopefully you can see that I have 3 different lines, because what we're going to do is we're going to stitch down this side, we're going to stitch down this side, and then we're going to cut these pieces together. That's going to give us 2 separate pieces. Okay, so you'll have a total of 4 pieces once you get these all finished. These 4 pieces are going to go in to create one large block. So let's go ahead and stitch these up, and then when we come back, make sure that you have measured these 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, each one of these, and trim those up so that your block is going to all fit together just right. Here we have the center of our block, and it makes a little pinwheel. So when you go to lay your pieces out, make sure that you remember what color was your D and what color was your H. My D was the red, so I start here and I put that block in the upper left-hand corner if I'm standing over it looking at it. And then the next piece you want to flip, you want to give it a turn, and each way you're going to just give it a turn so that you have a pinwheel effect, okay? And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to, you guessed it, we're going to flip and we're going to pin. Where'd my pins go? Hold on here. Sorry about that. We're going to pin the side that we need to sew. So I want to put this in this way so that I know that I'm stitching here. And then we're going to put this over on top of this one. And this is after I have measured to make sure that my square is 2 3/4 inch by 2 3/4 inch. Okay? And so we'll take those over and we'll stitch that up. And then we'll come back after it's pressed and we will put this piece with this piece after it's opened up. Okay? Okay, once we get all of those blocks sewn together and then we have the flip of the two sections, we have one piece. Make sure that you measure around to make sure that it is 5 inches by 5 inches. Okay, I'm going to set this one aside. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to have our A piece, which is one of your background pieces, and E. And here's my E. And I'm going to need to draw my line on this one. You're going to have actually two different pieces that go into this, okay? So your A, you have this go on top. Now this one, when you do your placement, you're going to have, we're making a goose track or arrow. So it's going to want to come in and meet on both sides to be able to get that arrow. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to stitch this one down, and after you finish that, you're going to bring it over and you're going to do your trimming, your 1/4 inch, and press that, because this needs to come up before we put the next piece on, okay? And your next piece over here is going to be your letter I. Okay, so we're going to take our letter I and we're going to go ahead and mark that. Now let me get my, measure this. Okay. And then this one is going to lay right sides together right on top of that, and you're going to stitch this one down with this one being pressed open here, okay, so that it creates one whole new piece. After it is trimmed back here, it's going to create one whole new piece, and this is going to lay on top of that to be able to catch the top of your first piece that was laid down, okay? So when you're finished, it's going to look like this, okay? And so you're going to make 4 of these, and then you want to make sure that when you measure, these are 2 3/4 by 5 inches, all right? And you're going to make 4 of those. So let's go ahead and stitch that. Okay, so taking the center piece, the pinwheel piece that we put together here, we're going to set that in the center. Now, with all of the flying geese that we just did, you're going to take and you're going to, just like everything else, it's a puzzle. So you're going to just start laying these out and match those up where they need to go, so that you're getting the effect here of the diagonals. You see that? See how those are all kind of pinwheeling together? All right, so we have just making sure that everything is lining up, and it is. And then you're going to take letter B, which is a background piece, and you're going to put these in each one of these corners here. Okay? And then you're going to go ahead and stitch those together. So just like we always do, we're going to take and we're going to flip on top, and we're going to stitch, and then we're going to take this piece and flip it on top, and we're going to stitch here. And the same with these over here. Now when we get to these, because when you look, you have a seam here, and you have a corner piece from where the points go together. So you want to try to line those up so that you keep everything at a point. Okay? So go ahead and you stitch the same method with the middle piece and then the bottom. And then of course, when you have that strip, the middle strip and the bottom, you're going to flip and stitch, flip and stitch. And make sure that you are trying to match up your seams where you have your corners there so that you keep those perfect points. So let's go ahead and get those all sewn up together, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have our center block all finished. That is all laid out. The final measurement on this should be 9.5 by 9.5 inches. All right, so now it's time to build our inner frame, I'm calling it. So now you're going to take your pieces, and just like everything else, it's a puzzle. And you're going to want to make, for each side, you're going to have to where it goes up to make that arrow. And each center part here should have an arrow, okay? And so that means your outer part is going to be riding right alongside of that arrow. And that will complete your inner frame. And then your letter B, you're going to put those in each corner piece here. And then we're going to take and we're going to flip this piece on top, and then this piece on top of this. You're going to stitch those. That's going to create two pieces now. And then you're going to flip these two together to stitch here. And then you're going to come over here and you're going to flip this, your two middle pieces. You're going to flip this right on top of this one and stitch in the center here. And you're going to flip this one and you're going to stitch in the center here. And then you're going to take these two pieces when these become one each, and you're going to flip it to the center and flip it to the center piece. And you're going to stitch along the edge here. And then you're just going to repeat what you did at the top here by putting this corner piece right on top and this corner piece right on top, stitching here. You then have two complete pieces when those are together. And then you're going to take that and you're going to flip it right on top of each other to stitch in the center. And then you're going to come back and you're going to take the top piece, flip it over to your entire center piece, and you're going to stitch, and you're going to take the bottom piece here and you're going to flip it and you're going to stitch. Okay? I kind of have a little snafu with the other framing part that I have, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of throw that together to give you the idea of what's going to happen here. It's going to be the exact same format as these guys all around our inner frame. So the outer frame, you're going to find your pieces and you're going to lay those for the outside piece. And I kind of goofed on my pieces, so I've got to go back and do a couple more to go in the proper direction. So mine is going to be a little short here, but I'm going to go ahead and show you so that you see all of this coming out, okay? And you're going to do the exact same thing that you did here, the same format. I'm going to put my cornerstones in there, okay? And so you're going to take and you're going to flip this piece on top of the piece that will be here. And this cornerstone will flip right on top of here, and you're going to stitch. And then you're going to open those back up. You're going to have two pieces. You're going to stitch here. And then you're going to take the two center pieces that you have. That's going to flip right on top of each other. This one will flip on top of this one, and you're going to stitch here. Okay? And when you get these as one and these as one, those will flip to the center piece that you have, and you're going to stitch right along here. And then it's just a repeat down here where this is going to flip right on top of this one This is going to flip right on top of this one, and you're going to stitch here, and then you're going to have two separate pieces at that point, and you're going to flip this one on top of this one and stitch. And then you're going to, this will all be stitched here. You're going to take and flip this one on top, stitch the lengthwise there. You're going to come down here, flip this one over, and you're going to stitch right along here. Hopefully that does not confuse everybody. When you are completely finished, it should be 18.5 by 18.5. As you can see, I am missing 3 pieces. I kind of got carried away when I was stitching my pieces, and instead of holding up the video, I am going to go ahead and just pretend that this is all done right here, okay? So make sure that when you are doing your stitching that you are, if you have any seam pieces, that you are measuring those up along with the other seams to be able to get your perfect points, at least as perfect as possible. And give me a second, I'm going to go around and flip the camera up so that I can show you what your finished piece should be. And here is my finished piece along with my strips that I have, cornering it all in. And if you kind of, let me do this without jerking too much. If you kind of look up in the left hand corner, you see how the star effect is all pulling together there. How pretty is that? I'm really thrilled with mine. And like I said, I hope you are too. Let me just kind of scan out here a little bit so that you can see so far what my whole piece is looking like. There we go. And you can kind of see how the cornerstone stars are all starting to form to create that border piece. Now, as you can also see, with these being 18.5 inches, they are much larger than our sampler one. And if you kind of look, let me kind of scan down a little bit. See, I don't have a whole lot more room left to put anything. So I'm going to be taking and putting on another wall these 6. So next week when we reconvene, I will have like a whole block number 1 up there will be completely different, but will actually be my block number 7. So that will give me room to be able to put the next 6. So yes, these are going to be very large quilts when we're all finished with them. And I really apologize for this one-man show. It's just a lot easier than me trying to wait for Tim. He's been very busy. Actually, we've been very busy with a lot of different things, and so I'm really trying my best to be able to bring these videos to you. And I apologize up and down profusely, and just bear with me. Hopefully you are able to understand and follow, even though I didn't have the 3 pieces that were remaining in this block. And you saw the finished product. Hopefully you can still see that behind me, our block number 6 there, if I'm not in the way. And hopefully your block, I know several of you are already finished with your block because you've already been posting them. But if you're not and you had to follow this along, I hope that it helped, that it worked for you. But next week, let me grab the book here. Next week, like I said, Alicia is working on block number 7 for me because I have meetings this week. So I'm trying to move everything along, and I'm trying to get them as quickly as possible so that we can get ahead of the game a little bit. and nobody's having to worry about doing it the week of Thanksgiving. So next week's block number 7, is fireside block. So hopefully you can see that okay. I think I'm in frame, I don't know. But this here will be block number 7, and we're getting closer. We're getting closer, guys. And I do have a few names to be able to draw from for this week. And let me just kind of mix them up here, and let's see who our winner is going to be for this week to be able to win 1 free yard of fabric. And I really didn't have any goodies in my goodie jar today, but we'll put something together for you. Okay, I've got a name. Let's see who it is. And it is Jody Jones. Jody Jones, you are our block number 5 winner. So yay, you get more free fabric. She was a winner in block number, or I should say in sampler 1. So yay, congratulations, Jody. And you just pop on in and we'll have your goodies for you. So guys, until next Tuesday, keep sewing, be safe, and we'll see you then. Any questions, make sure that you try to contact me. All right, see ya.